Welcome everyone, Anthony here. It is Thursday, August 28th, 2025 at 9:14 a.m. Eastern Time. And this morning I wanted to read some scripture and discuss it. We're in Ezekiel chapter 6. I'm going to read Ezekiel chapter 6 and then point everyone towards Matthew chapter 7 verses 21 to 24. And hopefully this will help answer some of the questions that people have whenever we have these shootings at schools, terrorist type activities going on around the country. And for the last several weeks or months, it seems like every day or every other day, there's some type of active shooter now, whether it's at a school, a place of business, in the city, in the country. It doesn't matter. It seems to be that they're coming out of the woodwork. Is this planned? Are these shooters brainwashed somehow, carried along, molded and shaped from years past, and then given a mission to do a certain thing, to bring out a certain outcome? One has to ask these questions because we've been in this place before with other types of disasters. We had a season of train derailments. If anyone has short memories, you could remember all the train derailments over the last several years. And those came very close together. And it seemed like every time you turned around, there was a train derailment. We saw planes, and we're still seeing planes falling out of the sky, engines lighting on fire, wings falling off, collisions, malfunctions, one after the other. Is it all coincidence? Why does it all happen in a season of time and then we shift to something else? We saw food processing plants by the hundreds, probably 200-300, I don't even know the number, exploding, catching fire, all different types of disasters, and they just so happen to be at poultry producing plants or cattle producing plants, etc. And there was a pattern and a season of that. And now it seems that we're in active shooter season, and everyone's scratching their heads and everyone has their view on how things should be handled, but nobody seems to want to look at what the root problem is. Both Democrat and Republican just spew their lies because they're two wings of the same bird. In fact, the governments may be in control or probably in control of the secret organizations like the three-letter organizations that mold and shape these people and carry them along to bring them about at a certain time for a certain end. Because in the end, 2030 and those type of agendas you've heard me talk about on this channel, in those programs or agendas, they have total control. The people are, let's call them slaves to the system. And they'll let you know what you're going to be able to have, where you're going to be able to live, where you're going to be able to go, how you're going to travel, what you're going to do. And the system now, the administration in power now, they take turns doing their things. The one in power now is setting the stage for that to take place with AI, with digital surveillance, with new types of money, digital money, places, ways to track and trace everybody. A marking system, a facial recognition system, all types of things where it's zero trust, they call it. You have to prove who you are all the time, and that you're offering, that you're in no, you're no trouble to the system. That's what's coming. And everything that's being put in place now by this administration is fostering that. And it started from day one on the inauguration. If you were paying attention at who was in attendance, and you saw that day in, week in, month in, all the technology gurus that were brought in, Palantir, and all these other people, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, investigating all the Doge and all the money scandal. What happened with that? I remember talking to people. Oh, Anthony, don't you want $5,000? We're uncovering all the corruption. Oh yeah, where's all the corruption uncovered? Where's all the arrests? Where's all the people in jail? Where's all the money? What happened to that? Did it go away? Oh yeah, next we're going to check Fort Knox and audit Fort Knox. How about you go to the Pentagon and audit the Pentagon? See how well that goes for you. It won't go too well because it was all a sham. It was a cover to bring in AI and to get the government onto new computer systems. And then a fake fight between the two. And all the charades happening now. And yet we're still funding wars in the Middle East, in Israel, in Ukraine, threatening Russia and China, where at the same time all their nationals have been brought in here into our country. And nobody's rounding them up. I don't see that being done. I don't see between October of 2024 and December of 2024, that short time period, I think 30 to 40,000 Chinese nationals, mostly military-age men, came into this country and were dispersed into the country. What are they doing? Where did they go? What are they working on? Where are they working? Who's supporting them? Does anyone ask these questions, or we just go on to the next dilemma? We have to take a long, hard look at who we are and what we are in this country. We say we're a certain God-fearing country. They call it Christianity. And I'll tell you this, out of whatever the number they say there is, 2.3 billion Christians, whatever that number is, most of them do not know Yahweh, God, nor his son Yahusha, Jesus. They're in name only and mouth only. They don't truly worship him and follow him. And you'll see in Ezekiel chapter 6 that I'm going to read what happens to those people that have lip service and then worship idols and worship the world and worship man and make up their own religion, their own standard, and they abandon God's covenant. What happened to them, and what happens to them? Well, history shows us what happened to them. Ezekiel 6 is just a part of it. And Matthew 7, 21 to 24 tells us in the end, when they go to stand before Yahusha, Jesus, because he is the judge in the end, and he says, "Away from me, you workers of lawlessness, iniquity, breaking the Torah, not following the Torah. Away from me, I never knew you." And these people have casted out demons, have done all the work or the works they thought they were doing for Jesus, for Yahusha. But it wasn't for him, it was for an imposter. They were following the carbon copy, Hashatan, Satan, his system that mirrors what God's, Yah's covenant people should be following. Satan tries to copy it and make a counterfeit of it. Just like in our country, what do we have? Idols all over the place. The biggest one in New York Harbor. Lady Liberty, well, who is that? Lady Liberty is a man. Do your research. It's Apollo, Apollyon, Satan, unchained. Look at the chains at the bottom of the feet. It's a demonic entity, hundreds of feet tall, that people worship and say was a gift. It's idolatry. What the church does today in America teaches watered down faith. What do I mean? A faith that doesn't follow Torah. It doesn't follow Yah's covenant. And then we wonder why we have all these problems. And then our government secret organizations training people and doing things subversively in countries within here and without, all around the world, subverting, pushing an agenda, a worldwide agenda, to orchestrate things to an end. And we look for answers here and there. If only, if only that, if only this. When we have to look in ourselves and say, what is the state of me today? Where do I stand in Yah? If I was to stand before Yah and die suddenly right now, and I was to stand before him, what ground, what solid ground do I have to stand on when he judges me? What am I going to say to him when he tells me, away from me, you worker of iniquity, and he reveals all the false teachings that I followed in the name of Christianity? I won't read of all of Ezekiel chapter 6. We're going to skip around a little right now. And it says this in verse 4, and your slaughter places shall be ruined, your sun pillars shall be broken in pieces, and I shall make your slain fall in the front of your idols. This is Yah talking of what he's going to do to the people that disobey and break his covenant. Those were Yisra'ელ. Were his people. He brought them out of Egypt. And if you claim to be a follower of his today, you're grafted into Yisra'엘. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're grafted in. And lay the corpses of the children of Yisrael in front of their idols, and scatter your bones all around your slaughter places. Your fake worship, your lip service. In all your dwelling places the city shall be destroyed, and the high places deserted, and your slaughter places are broken, and bear their punishment. And your idols shall be smashed and made to cease, and your sun pillars cut down. They were worshiping the sun then. We worship the sun now by worshiping on Sunday, the day of the sun, and calling it the Sabbath. Nobody likes to hear the truth today. I didn't like it either at one time. Cut down and your works blotted out, and the slain shall fall in your midst, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. But I shall leave a remnant, in that some of you shall escape the sword among the nations where you are scattered throughout the lands. A remnant is a small amount of people, not 3 billion. And those of you who escape shall remember me among the nations where they have been taken captive, because I have been broken by their adulterous heart, which has turned away from me. They turned away, they broke covenant. We break covenant, not Yah. He's loyal to his covenant. And by their eyes, which whored after their idols, they refused to give them up. They went whoring after them. That's what the word says. And they shall loathe themselves for the evils which they have done in all their abominations. That's the end of verse 9. Now we'll pick up here in verse 11. Thus said the Master Yahweh, strike with your hand and stamp your feet and say, Alas, because all of the evil abominations of the house of Yisrael, who shall fall by sword, by scarcity of food, and by pestilence. Sword, famine, pestilence. It's what I've been talking about in many of my videos. That's what's coming. That's what's here. He who is far off shall die by pestilence. He who is near shall fall by the sword, and he who is left shall be besieged and die by scarcity of food. And look what's happening to our food supply. Look what's happening to our air supply. Look what's happening to wars and rumors of wars all around the world and within. Rumblings of civil unrest. Now let's skip over from Ezekiel chapter 6 and read Matthew 7, 21 to 24. Not everyone who says to me, Master, Master, this is Yahusha, Messiah talking, shall enter into the reign of the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, Master, Master. When you see that double inflection there, it's time to pay attention. That's what that means. Have we not prophesied in your name and cast out demons in your name, capital Y, and done many mighty works in your name? And I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Psalm 6:8. Read 1 John. He tells you what sin is. It's breaking the law. He tells you if you say you follow Yah, Yahuwah, Yahusha, Jesus, and you break the law, you're a liar. And the truth is not in you. So you have to look in the mirror today, and you have to decide who you're following. This is where we are in our country today. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man. And I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you worker of lawlessness. Then verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and does them shall be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain came, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. Where's your source? Who are you following? Are you on the rock, or are you in the next verse? And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them. So in other words, you're a Christian, or you say you're a believer, you say you're born again, you say you have the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, but you do the opposite of what Torah says. You break the first 4 commandments, which are going to help you break or cause you to break the last 6 commandments. And you say you're a believer. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them shall be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand, and the rain came down, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. Messiah, Jesus, is illustrating here after he spoke about, away from me, you evildoers. There's 2 types of people. Ones who build their house on the rock, who follow what's written and do what's written, action. And those who build their house on the sand. They think they have his law, or they think they're following him. Their house is on the sand. It's not going to stand when the waves come, the winds come, the waves come, the trouble comes. The iniquity of our leaders sets into the people. The digital surveillance comes in. The tracking and tracing. The chips, the brain chips, the merging with AI, the injectables that go in you that are robotic, that have been designed by DARPA and been planned years before. And Operation Warp Speed, all bullcrap. Operation Bullcrap Speed. That's what it should be called. It's all planned ahead of time. Understand the situation that we're in this country. It's not just about random shootings and other random events. Things are being orchestrated a certain way to the ruler of their system, Lucifer, Satan. It's his season now. We must stand, and your desire, your everything that you live for should be, I want to be a remnant follower and not the one that's cast out or told, away from me, you worker of iniquity. And I'll hear over and over again, legalism, legalism. Well, legalism? It's legalism to want to follow what's written, what Yah wrote, what he sent his son to teach, what he sent his son to do and demonstrate and live sinlessly and do it and live it and say, this is the way to live, and trained his apostles the same way, who did the same thing. And then so-called early church fathers changed everything. And that's what the church today is built upon? Oh, that standard? That's legalism? That's illegalism. That's lawlessness. Legalism is doing his will. Psalm 119, the whole entire psalm, all 176 verses, talks about the beauty of God's laws, his precepts, his Torah, his right rulings. They're not wrong rulings, they're right rulings. But man is thick-headed, stiff-necked, just like Yisra'ЄL was. Most people today in this country are thick-headed and stiff-necked and think they have all the answers, and their pastor or their priest or their guru or whoever they're watching or following has the answers. And they're teaching a watered-down gospel that has no power. And they're not set apart. They're not following the way, the truth, and the life. They're following a man-made system, doctrines of men, teachings of men, just like they did in that system. And they were destroyed, and they were judged. And a remnant was scattered around the world, and they're not back yet. And he's regathering them now and waking up dry bones around the world. That's what's happening. That's what's taking place. That's where you want to be. Waking up, coming out of the matrix. Not believing their lies, not believing in their system, not believing in their way, not believing in anything you see that they say and do. Because it's evil 100% of the time. They have one agenda, and that's a worldwide system. And no one man's going to come in and pretend he's saving you. You're being lied to. You're the occultist by following that and thinking that's going to be the case. And getting back to legalism, if you're keeping Torah or doing what's written in the Bible for your salvation and excluding Messiah, that's legalism. However, if you're born again and you believe in Messiah and you've confessed him and trusted in his work at the stake and repented of your sin and turned to him and received his mercy, his grace, his Ruach HaKodesh, his spirit, you now have the spirit in you to follow his Torah. They go together. Every true believer will be actively following Yah's word in the last days. So it's time to wake up and it's time to get down and understand what's really going on. And all these incidents that are happening all around the world are orchestrated events to push an agenda or to get your mind off of something else, maybe a list that you were counting on, and now all this is going on. They know what to do. Look up their operations. Look them up. Look up CIA operations, FBI operations. You know the names of them, many of you, that know what's really taking place. Turn to the one who can save you. John 3:36 says, belief in Yahusha and following his commands. Two things believers do. They trust in Messiah and they follow his commands. What he did, what he taught. Not what the early church fathers did and taught. Not what Rome teaches. Not what Protestants teach. Or any other 5,000 plus denominations teach. They have some salt, but it's mostly sprinkled with pepper. Doctrines of men. Latest teaching. Seminary trained. Tainted. The word is tainted. The word is not tainted. They taint it. It's up to you to go through and look and see where am I missing something here? What am I not doing? Oh, if I celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday, what are my friends going to think? What is my mother going to think? What is my kids going to think? What's everyone going to think? How am I going to do it? Little Johnny plays baseball. Well, you could do all things through Messiah, right? Philippians, it says. I could do all things through Messiah who strengthens me. Maybe you could ask him to strengthen you to do that. Yah bless everybody. Anthony signing off. Ezekiel chapter 6, Matthew chapter 7. Yah bless.